Buenos dias y bienvenidos al Chavez Loud and Chavez Proud podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Francis.
My name is Ariana.
My name is Jefferson.
Today we'll be discussing the different views people have regarding the use of terms Hispanic, Latino, and Latinx.
You may be wondering, what does the term Hispanic mean? The term Hispanic refers to people from Spanish-speaking countries. Do you know some of the examples of Spanish-speaking countries?
Yes, like Mexico, Puerto Rico, Cuba, El Salvador, and other 20 speaking Spanish countries.
Also, we'll be discussing what the term Latino means. The term Latino refers to any person from Latin America despite their language. For example, in Brazil, they may speak Portuguese.
And what does the term Latinx mean? So usually Latinx is used by certain news and entertainment outlets and corporations by the government and university to describe the nation's Hispanic population, usually mainly describing certain people that don't really want to incorporate or be associated with Latinos or Latina, yet they want to be used as their own, how can I say this, their own gender identities.
So they can feel comfortable?
Yes.
Sort of a pronoun, but for your race.
Yeah, so they can feel more included.
Yeah.
Based on the statistics from the Pew Research Center, a lot of Hispanics, while those terms may be true, a lot of Hispanics have mixed views on how they describe their identity. A lot of, based on the research back in 2018, a lot of Hispanics prefer the term Hispanic more than they did Latino. And back in 2019, research showed that many of them preferred no preference.
So we will also be self-identifying. Personally, I'll start off by saying I self-identify as Hispanic because it is the most simple way to put. If you tell anyone that you're Hispanic, they can pretty much guess you're anywhere from Central America. You are from a Spanish-speaking country.
And me personally, I identify as Afro-Latina because I am mixed. My mother is Black and my dad is Hispanic. So usually when people, look at me, they can just automatically tell that I'm Hispanic and we'll just kind of go with it. But I tell them that I am just Afro-Latina, and that's what I identify as.
I identify myself as Hispanic because I feel like it's more better for people to understand who I am and where I'm from. Yeah.
So, also, what are your guys' thoughts on how people self-identify based on them being Hispanic, Latino, or Latinx?
I think it's anyone's choice kind of thing. Just going off of Latinx, the term what Latinx is, it isn't really inclusive. It can include a lot of different people besides Latinas and Latinos. Besides, just male and female genders, it can include people that identify with other pronouns and other genders besides male and female. I'm glad that in this generation, we are allowed to be more expressive when it comes to our own views and feelings and thoughts on how we want to be perceived by society, and not just as you are Latino or you are Hispanic. There are different varieties and different options, and I think people should just respect that.
Yeah, I also think that opportunity for everyone to be able to have a voice is perfect nowadays, that we are able to sort of address this self-identity because, you can say you are Hispanic by self-identification, but others may see you as Latino or Latinx. And now that we do have that opportunity to voice each other, we can inform others and educate them on how you may want to be identified. But at the end of the day, we all are sort of inclusive in a our language, our race. But yeah, I don't know how to go off of that. I sort of lost my train of thought. But let's go on to Will. Will, what are your thoughts on what people choose to self-identify?
I think people just want to feel comfortable. They want to have a voice. They want to make friends, and they just want to live life like the rest of the world. Yeah, that's my thoughts.
So you think that this isn't something that people should really address? They should just call it whatever they want to call it and go on about their day. It's not really something of importance.
No, it's just something you gotta be mind of, because you have to be a good person or a good close friends to them to identify them as something else. That's a joke. But if you just want to make first impressions, I'd rather ask, are you Hispanic, Latino, or Latinx? You know,
Yeah.
I think it also just revolves around individuality, just how some people may have just want to be perceived. A lot of people, I've met a lot of Hispanics out there that don't like to be called Latinx. A lot of people don't like that, and a lot of people just use the traditional Latino because that's how we've kind of started off in America, being called Latinos or Hispanics and other terms to describe us as people. But as we grow as a community and as a whole and as a race entirety, we all should be entitled to our own opinions as to what we want to be called and what we choose to identify as, because they are our identities. And just based on the person, just if you are going off of first impressions, you should be respectful and ask, what do you identify as? This can go far beyond Hispanic or Latino race. This can go beyond that, and just beyond that spectrum. Period. I'm just asking people because we are in a generation where people have their own opinions and for different forms of identities that they want to identify as, where they want to feel included and not having to always check off the box of just being, are you African American, Hispanic, Asian, and other. Um, I think we should have more options
Right. And I
based on
think
those.
I think one reason that a lot of people are looking for different ways to self-identify is because there's been a stigma almost that Hispanics, Latinos, or Latinx have been sort of identified as mostly immigrants in the US or in many other nations which aren't Spanish speaking countries, like the UK. Um, so I think people should be able to, uh, understand that a stigma isn't exactly something that applies to everybody, and should be respectful whenever you're meeting a Hispanic, Latino, or Latinx person. You should treat them as anyone else, as somebody who has also lived um, like any other normal person in their entire lives, and shouldn't be judged off of just their race or their stigma.
I also would like to add on that because I feel like it really is important how when we first came here, it's easy for someone to say, "Oh, you're just Hispanic," without going into specifics. And I remember a long time ago, I actually asked someone, "What do you think of when you hear Hispanics?" And they say Mexican. A lot of people, when I say, "Yeah, I'm Hispanic," or "Yes, I am Afro Latina," they say, "Oh, are you like Mexican?" And it's kind of just it's funny to them, but to me, I take it personally because for so long, growing up on my father's side, we are Dominican and Salvadoran, so it's kind of hard hearing that you're something else other than, yes, it can be. It's understandable hearing like, oh, you're Mexican because everyone's used to. I feel like Mexicans are more they have been more Americanized and they have been more socially accepted by Americans. So, when you do hear Mexicans, or, they are closer to us, um, and they have more of an impact than other places, other Spanish speaking countries in America do. So it's easy for people to say you are Mexican, but again, moving forward for everyone that is listening, just being respectful and just knowing that we aren't all just Mexican or Hispanics or Spaniards. We are Latino, just asking, just being respectful and asking, what do you identify as, or what do you want me to call you, instead of saying you are Hispanic and you are a Spaniard, or whatever else.
Right. I would like to add one last thing to that, which is a lot of people nowadays have been confusing Mexico with sort of a race or just sort of a term for any Hispanic person. Um, for example, I had a friend of mine who was black think that Mexico wasn't a country, that it was like a race. So I think the education system also plays a part in this, that this should be something that should be educated. Mexico is a country, not the same as a race. Um, and many other countries should also be included to Hispanics, Latinos, and Latinx. Well, if you guys would like to add anything onto that, I think
Yeah,
that'll be
there's
the end of
another
it.
word I hear around, like from a lot of people, is immigrants. A lot of people use immigrant to to show how you look or see how you are. I rather ask people, where are you from, how you identify yourself, it, instead of just saying, oh, you're immigrant or you Mexican. It's better just ask background information first, then just go for the first impression.
Yeah, I think that's very important to ask somebody before judging them based off of their looks. And with that being said, thank you for tuning in to the Chavez Loud and Proud podcast. We'll see you guys next time.
Adios.